Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Shivkumar, and in today's video I just wanted to talk about the year-end review of 2022 and what are my plans for 2023. This is more like a recap video, and more importantly it allows me to just reflect on what I've done in the last year and what I can improve on in 2023. This is a small little presentation. So one of the things that I've actually been able to kind of accomplish is I've basically moved my setup from just a random location in my home to a more dedicated room over here, and I was just able to set up the lab. And it almost goes underestimated how important it is to set up a lab. A robotics lab, would have these three aspects to it, generally speaking. There is the computer where you're doing your simulations and designing certain things, your CAD programs, your softwares. So that's part of the the package of setting up the lab, and most of us more or less already have a computer in some shape or form. But there are other things that are important when you're designing a drone, right? There's the electronic aspects to it, and then there's the mechanical, physical aspect where you're building the actual drone. And when it comes to electronics, a lot of times people, at least from my observation, is that they almost neglect the electronics or don't focus on the electronics and buy third-party hardware because it's generally a lot easier to do that. And I did not want to go that route because it's a lot of the innovations and technology is when you are able to understand the electronics, the hardware, the mechanical aspects, and understand the whole vertical integration if you're planning to make something that is innovative in some shape or form, not just buying off the shelf. And buying off the shelf is something that, you can do that in a hobby way. And that's something that I really wanted to invest in, which is basically setting up the lab. So I set up more or less the electronic aspects of it, and including getting a 3D printer so that I can test more of the physical aspects of the drone, basically building the drone itself. And all of this was mostly from my personal savings. I did not really was aiming to, to look for investors or ask for any of that stuff for funding, or, it's just not something that I personally was looking into. I just felt, I don't mind starting a slightly slow, but using my own personal, savings to really set up this endeavor. There's a lot of risk involved when it comes to designing and building your own drone, and if I'm not willing to invest my own money into it, it does not make sense to ask someone else to invest in an endeavor like this. It does take time because you don't want to blow up your savings. You want to invest it as smartly as possible while understanding the risk, because all of these equipments that you're buying are expensive. They're not necessarily cheap, and as you buy more and more, you accumulate costs. So you just have to suck up the cost if you really want to pursue your dreams. So that's one of the things that I've really made it a point this year, to really save as much as I can and invest in the equipments that would help me build a drone. Another thing that is kind of like not really emphasized on when it comes to drone making. There's a lot of skills involved, and especially the electronic hardware design skills. In electronic hardware design skills, once you reach the high-speed digital design, there's a lot of information that you just need to improve on. For example, if you're building your own camera, from the image sensor right to connecting it to the board, there are certain high-speed designs that you just need to understand in order for you to build a circuit that's actually makes sense. So I spend a lot of my time understanding the hardware side of things, the electronic hardware side of things, because it's not really taught in school, and there are a lot of things that are necessary, the nuances, so that you make a circuit that works, and you just have to spend time studying, practicing, and working on it. And last but not the least, I won't, it's not really the highest intention right now, but one of it is, to grow my YouTube channel. So what's the goal for 2023? One of the things that I still want to focus on is, primarily the number one goal is to start developing the first prototype of the drone. And most likely I'm focusing on a bicopter, helicopter type of drone, not a quadcopter, for various reasons, which I will be explaining a lot more as time progresses, especially in this year. There's a lot of physics behind it as to why a bicopter or even a helicopter could also be very suitable. Yes, a quadcopter is a much more ubiquitous type of drone, but does not mean that you have to always design a drone that's a quadcopter in configuration or an octocopter in configuration. There are other designs and topologies and configurations that you can experiment with, and that's the reason why understanding the electronics and building your own, understanding things from the grounds up really makes a lot more sense, so that you can play around with the physical attributes of it, because you understand right from the grounds up if there's changes in the actual topology, configuration, and the physical part of your drone, you know how to backtrack it and change the electronics so that it fits and everything works together. The algorithms, the controller, and everything works together, so you're free in terms of designing a system that's more innovative rather than just following what everyone else is doing. So hopefully I'm able to prototype many of these drones in the next in this year, especially 2023, knowing that I'm investing in a 3D printer, so it's easy for me to prototype and build configurations and test different designs. You have to continue expanding on the lab in terms of test equipments, in terms of, like, say, if you want to get a CNC machine to work on carbon fiber or any composite material for that matter of fact, testing different types of materials, creating molds so that you can design propellers. You can even do that through 3D printing, but they just different equipments, and even electronics. If you want to test different parts of the circuit, you just need to invest in different types of the instruments that can help you build a more robust system. So that's one of the things that I would still be working on, investing money in expanding the lab. This is not something that I've really thought very deeply on, but one of the things that I need to do is, because the setup is so expensive, you need to fund all of this, and this currently is not generally generating any revenue for me, primarily. So it would be very important for me to figure out a simple way of generating some form of revenue, be it as a consultant, be it as selling a product or selling a service. I don't know yet. Doing some freelance work, I don't know yet, but it'll be in some shape or form start to make this channel, this particular endeavor, basically generate revenue. And yes, and in the backburn, continue to grow the YouTube channel. So if all these things go as per plan, then it would be much easier for me to hire a team, which is something that would most likely happen maybe end of this year, or maybe end of sometime next year. That's really it for me from my perspective, is that I'm literally looking at this as a 5-year term project rather than a 1-year term project. So it gives me some room to invest in the right education, the right lab setup, the right equipment, so that as time progresses, I'm able to basically work on being more flexible in terms of new design, new research, new development, and constantly change and test different types of configuration, so that the drone is more capable and is different from what's out there. Just because everybody's making a quadcopter doesn't mean you have to make a quadcopter type of a drone. I'm not focusing too much on AI this year. I think it'll be still mostly based on hardware, different types of configurations, figuring out different types of designing the controller, designing the control systems for the drone, making it fly. And so it'll still be very manual in that sense. The AI side of things most likely will be focused either end of this year or beginning of next year. And when I say AI, artificial intelligence, is more about taking all those. It's going to be mostly computer vision in in every sense of the word, where all the cameras are going to feed in all the imagery data, and then we're going to train it based on the drone flying and collecting all those information and making the drone more intelligent so that it can navigate the world. That's something that's a very different type of a problem, and I most likely will be focusing that towards the end of the year, or most likely next year. So I don't want to pressure myself in doing everything in 1 year, but there's a lot of other things that I want to focus on and basically building up this year. So there's gonna be a lot more building of things. That's the way I look at it. Be it test stands, building different configurations, designing the actual electronics hardware and being really good at it, constantly prototyping different setups. And that's where this channel that's really the goal of this year, is just research and development more towards the software, the electronics, and the configuration of the drone itself. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about, and I didn't feel it was necessarily a bad year. I didn't get as much done as I should have. I did get I did have a baby this year, so it just sucked up 3 months of my, towards the end of the year. It just sucked up a lot of my time, because it's just you have a personal life, and you got to take care of it. But having said that, it just was, in terms of just finance, it's not, you can't just, you just have to be cognizant as to how you're, spending the money, and what you're trying to build. So it's just a matter of, saving up and building certain things, and in the meanwhile, just doing some tutorials on simulations. But the main goal of last year was just, invest all that money into, invest a lot of the money into making drones and setting up the laboratory. And next year, hopefully I can benefit from all the investment that happened last year. At least that's the premise of the goal of next 2023. All right, that's it from me. I just thought I would just share some of my recap. It's a great way for me to just record all of this, keep track of what I'm doing. It's a video blogging. It's a video log for me and for my team. And just to see my progress over the year, and it's just great fun doing that. And thank you for all my subscribers. Thank you for even my Patreon, who's basically somehow believing in what we're doing. It's really it's just so awesome that people still watch my channel. I mean, I got 800 subscribers as we speak. I don't even I don't know what to say, but really thank everyone who subscribed in some shape or form. It just helps me. It's just a psychological boost that someone is actually cares to subscribe and watch my videos. So yeah, thank you all. Happy New Year, and hopefully I can inspire a lot more of you guys to create and build more stuff, and hopefully this channel drives and builds and entertains, as well as helps you learn how to build a better drone, and just being creative in building good quality, just building stuff that helps humans, nature, biodiversity, you name it. That's about it from me. And once again, Happy New Year, and thank you all for to all my subscribers and my Patreon. Thank you so much.